Hello everyone! Today we'll be exploring how Reliably helps you run chaos engineering experiments, not only from its cloud but from your own environments too. For the purpose of this demo, we'll be using GitHub as our target. To do so, we're going to create a new experiment. We'll pick a very simple one which verifies the validity of a certificate for an endpoint. Now that we've created the experiment, we want to run it. We select GitHub as a deployment. No Reliably environment is required. However, we need to specify a GitHub environment. This environment is created in GitHub itself. It must contain at least one secret, the Reliably service token. We set up the plan to run immediately. Now, Reliably is going to commit this plan as a new workflow to GitHub. This workflow will be triggered by GitHub immediately. To make this work, you will need a Reliably plan YAML file in your GitHub workflows. This workflow will need to have at least this step, but you can extend it with more steps. You can add steps before or after the execution of the experiment, and this means you can perform more operational or environmental tasks around the actual execution. What happens next is that Reliably takes this workflow and updates it to create an ad hoc workflow for this specific plan, based on the workflow we've just seen. From there on, GitHub will start running it. If we inspect our workflow, we see GitHub executing the plan. It takes a little bit more time than in Reliably Cloud because it needs to install all the dependencies so the Reliably CLI can run. Once the installation is finished, it will execute the plan using the CLI. More specifically, it will run this command, which you can find on the plan page for you. Using GitHub gives you more control over the environment where you run the experiment. You have more control over secrets, over configuration, environments, and over what's happening before and after than you'd have in Reliably's cloud, while still keeping a lot of the friendliness that you have had using Reliably as an orchestrator. We're waiting for the dependencies to be finished being installed. Now we're here, we can see that it's executing the plan. And if we go back to the Reliably web app, we can see that the execution has started and is already finished. And we see that our certificate will expire in more than 7 days. What's interesting as well is that we have the links to commit of the result, because when the plan finished, Reliably commits the results of the execution to GitHub. And you can access all this directly from Reliably. What's interesting here is that you get the execution journal, the logs, as well as the list of dependencies used by this execution. So that's it. This concludes our first experiment run on GitHub instead of Reliably's cloud. You've seen how easy it is to run an experiment in your own settings, to have more control over the runtime of the experiment. So thanks so much for watching.